Television service has come a long way. In the beginning, over-the-air broadcast, free to be received by anybody who could receive it, has now become, for the most part, closed networks such as cable TV companies and now telephone companies. And as for the programming, it's all been digitized and is now sent out over their own or public networks as data packets, which must be received in sequence and error-free in order to be a good viewing experience for the user who is now paying for the service. Let's look at a brief PowerPoint presentation, and we'll see a little bit about it. Moving towards IPTV, a partial evolution on video. In the beginning, in 1926, John Baird transmitted the very first television picture from one room to another. By 1927, he used telephone wires to successfully send a moving image from London to Glasgow, and in 1928, he made the first transatlantic television broadcast. The old-fashioned way. Early analog television signals were converted to radio waves and broadcast over the air to the user's home. Reception of the old-fashioned broadcast signal was dependent on several factors, such as the transmitter power, distance to the user's antenna, which was usually on top of his roof somewhere, and an old-fashioned TV set. The new way. Fast forward to today. Just as the television set has evolved into new flat screens and all that stuff, so have the technologies of the signals provided to it. What was once the over-the-air and free for anybody who could receive it television signal is now predominantly on cable TV coax networks or telephone companies' fiber FTTP networks, and access to the programming now costs money in the form of a monthly service fee. Modern methods. Modern-day television is now a video service, and modern methods of delivering it require more than the old TV antenna. IPTV video is the television signal today, but it's now digitized into IP packets that are transportable through digital networks, including through routers and multiplexers. The signals are encrypted for the security of unintended reception, as well as a form of digital rights management for protection for the provider and the content owner. Compressed for less consumption of network resources, such as overall bandwidth, and transported out over the high-speed digital network, including routers with addresses for individual equipment and destinations. Already on the internet, IPTV is no longer considered something in the future. It is actually a modern version of analog broadcast technology available today. IPTV may be sent over public or private networks such as the World Wide Web or local cable and telephone providers, corporate networks, which would also be private, or even restricted community networks. Each user will now be individually identifiable for the purposes of provisioning, security, and ever-important monthly billing. What's next? Obviously, video service providers will continue to seek ways to increase revenue and reduce operating costs. Wireless operability increases complexity, particularly for the user's devices, but greatly reduces the physical plant and its related operating expenses for the provider. But you have to wonder, how long will it be before we don't even need portable handheld devices, or any devices for that matter, for media reception? So, now that television service has become digital and must be paid for in terms of monthly service fees, the whole scope of TV has changed. But on the overall, it's actually very much improved from what it used to be, with grainy analog pictures, now super sharp HD TV and whatnot with flat screen TVs. But it still makes you wonder where it's going next. Recently there are handheld television devices coming out now that work strictly off wireless broadband, which is again IPTV, and makes you wonder what's coming next. Will devices even be necessary down the road? We'll find out.